The problem with Trump and with the current regime in the United States is it's all about flattery. It's the same sort of problem that you get in Russia. Flatter the people in power, and you can survive. Today, well, not necessarily. Today, General Yaroslav Moskalik was killed near Moscow. He was blown apart in an explosion timed with chilling precision. It illustrates not only Russia's growing internal instability, but Vladimir Putin's crumbling authority. In desperation, Putin grasps for any peace deal that he can engineer before his army mutinies or his streets descend into civil unrest. And that gives us Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, as long as Trump is flattered, Trump will do anything. Trump, who has blatantly disregarded both international and national norms, now positions himself as Putin's unwitting or perhaps willing agent in an effort to force Ukraine to surrender territory unlawfully seized by Russia. This is not diplomacy. It's two thugs fighting over a parking space reserved for someone else. And just because the American car, the beast, is bigger than anything else, it thinks it has control. Consider the caliber of Trump's judgment. He pardoned Michelle Fiore, convicted for using money intended for a memorial to a slain police officer to fund her own plastic surgery, simply because he discovered, with a little bit of private detective digging, that she was very supportive of his MAGA project. Such decisions demonstrate Trump's flagrant contempt for public trust, legality, and decency. Trays now projected onto the international stage. Legally, the proposition Trump flirts with, forcing Ukraine to cede Crimea, violates every pillar of the global order. I was just suddenly torpedoed into doing a television interview with almost no preparation, and I'd got the times wrong, so they suddenly rang me up and said, "Are you are you available now?" Yes, okay. And I was asked, what are diplomatic or military pressures necessary to persuade President Zelenskyy to accept the peace deal on offer from President Trump? And I had to say, well, actually, neither is possible. First of all, Trump is a third actor in this scenario. And secondly, this is against every principle in the international order. The proposition that Trump flirts with violates everything. First, the principle of sovereign equality and territorial integrity enshrined in Article 2.4 of the UN Charter forbids any use of force against the political independence of a state. So, Trump couldn't possibly use its military to persuade Ukraine to cede Crimea. Crimea was also seized by force, so that's wrong. To pressure Ukraine to relinquish it retroactively endorses aggression and therefore defies the UN Charter itself. And Trump is encouraging that. Second, the customary international law and the UN General Assembly Resolution 2625 prohibits territorial acquisition by force. As the resolution states, no territorial acquisition resulting from the threat or the use of force shall be recognized as legal. Trump's gambit would contravene this fundamental rule and make the United States complicit in international illegality. Third, the Budapest Memorandum of 1994, which the United States is a signatory to, solemnly guaranteed Trump's sovereignty and existing borders in exchange for the surrender of its nuclear arsenal and conventional weapons. Abandoning Ukraine now renders US security guarantees utterly meaningless. It's a disastrous signal to every other nation contemplating its nuclear future, or indeed its non-nuclear future. Fourth, while self-determination is a cherished principle under the ICCPR and the UN Charter, it doesn't apply when a territory is under military occupation. Crimea's so-called referendum in 2014, therefore, just so the people who are about to start pillorying me with points in the comments section, that referendum was conducted with Russian soldiers on the streets. Its result is legally void, as is the result of the referenda in the Donbass. Legally void. Fifth, under international law, there is a duty of non-recognition. States must not recognize territorial situations born of aggression. The United States would breach that duty were it to support any deal ceding Crimea or other Ukrainian lands. Therefore, if Trump were to pressure Ukraine into capitulation, either militarily or diplomatically, he would be defying the UN Charter, the customary international law, the solemn bilateral treaties, the principle of self-determination, the duty of non-recognition, all at once, as well as the basic duty of friendship. He's had Zelenskyy in his office. Well, so has Vance. And it's not just a legal violation, it's a moral and strategic disorder. It undermines the rules-based international order, it emboldens aggressors, it destabilizes Europe, it betrays American promises. The death of General Moskalik today is not merely a footnote, it's a harbinger. Russia's foundations are cracking, and Putin is desperate. He can smell the sulfur of collapse. Trump, by offering an illegal peace to an aggressor, only lends a lifeline to a regime already nearing its terminus. It is said that when thieves fall out, honest men recover their own. But if the thieves, Putin and Trump, conspire successfully, it's the honest nations who will be robbed. Ukraine deserves not betrayal but steadfast support, and law, not lawlessness, must be the instrument of any peace.